I don't actually have a question for you. I just want to tell you thank you so much. I was prior military, and I was dealing with some situations while I was in the military, and my mindset wasn't the best, and suicide I thought was the biggest thing that I want to do. But I started listening to Dropping Bombs and the podcast and all the value you add, and sometimes to this day when I still get in those funky mindsets, you help me get out of it, and plenty of other people I believe as well. So I just want to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support.
Hey, dude, and just remember, bro. Like, you know, when you start thinking shit like that, like you got to think to yourself, dude. That's not the best option.
Sure.
Welcome to the Roofing CEO Playbook podcast. Build it to sell it. We're here to cut through the noise, all the rhetoric, to show you how to build your roofing business, make it profitable, where you make a boat ton of money, and the cherry on top, when you're ready to sell, you can sell to a private equity firm and change your family's life. Everybody, I got my friend here, Brad Lee. Met Brad about 2 years ago. Got the pleasure of knowing you. Was on his podcast. Definitely keeps it real, I'll tell you that, for sure. Doesn't really matter. You ask for a question, you get the truth out of them. You know, Brad, I appreciate you being here, first of all. I appreciate your friendship. I'm looking forward to you joining us for dinner tonight and spending time with you. When you're talking to people, the message I'm taking from you is bet on yourself, stop having so much self-doubt, stop making excuses. I mean, is that the message you're trying to get to people, or is that just the message you did here? Is that a common message?
Well, anytime that I speak from the heart, and I speak the truth, and I try not to just give them, you know, my thoughts. I try to give them tactical strategies to implement to get to the same place I did, but it's all, for me, experience. Like, I mean, dude, you got to bet on yourself. You got to, if you want to raise your net worth, you got to raise your self-worth. Too many people are taught to believe that it's difficult and, you know, they can't do it, and we're programmed to have self-doubt. Well, if you can figure out how to reverse that, you're going to be better off.
You know, you talk about value, right? Like, I've gotten to know you. Hey, listen, what value? Like, and relationships are important. I think I built everything I built on relationships. Yeah, I think
relationships is key.
I'm the ultimate relationship guy. I'm not the guy that's gonna take over a room. I'm not the guy on stage. Like, you know how I feel about speaking. It's not. I do it, but it's not like I'm like, you're great at it, right? Do you think people underestimate the value of giving value in a relationship and not just being a fucking taker? I'm gonna use the word. Like, so many people come in like, oh, Lance, I got this ideal for you. Invest in this. Invest in this. Seldom does someone ever come to me and say, Lance, let me do this for you. Do you know, like, that relationship value? What do you think about that?
Well, if you're talking about financial aspects, every dollar we've ever received in our life has come from a relationship. So if you want more money, you need more relationships. The key, though, is to be able to build and nurture quality relationships. And in order to do that, you want to provide value. You don't want to walk up and ask somebody for something. You want to provide them some sort of value. And what's funny is people will come to me, especially after a talk, and they'll be like, well, how can I provide value? And if you think about what you just said, you just asked me for value. The first thing out of your mouth was, how do I provide value? Now, your intentions are good. You're trying to find out what's valuable to me, which a lot of people would think, well, that's smart. But in reality, you're asking me to give you value. You can make some assumptions. People want more money. They want more time. They want less headaches. You know, you could bring me a business deal with nothing, no strings attached, and all of a sudden it's like, who is that guy? You know, I want to know who that is. So again, make sure you provide value. So to answer your question, providing value first is the key to building and nurturing real relationships.
So I'm going to ask you a difficult question, right? Because your persona out there is a hard guy. I don't use the word tough guy, but you're a direct guy. But you're not that. You're actually one of the nicest people, and you're a very sincere man. Why don't you let people see that side of you more? If you don't mind me asking, like, it's just, or maybe I'm misstating it. Like,
well, brother, love ain't lies. Love ain't lies. Dude, listen, I'm telling the truth, and some people don't want to hear it. It doesn't make me mean or angry. It makes me more love than anything. Why? Because love ain't lies, bro. There's a lot of people that lie to you and make you feel good. And you hang around those people when those people don't truly care about you, or they'd tell you the damn truth.
No, you're not, and you're right. Maybe I'm miswording it. I don't want to misword it. You're a caring, good guy.
100%.
I don't think people see that all the time through your podcast.
Well, they may not perceive it, but they see it because that's me.
Okay, well, it's definitely you. I want people to know that because I've gotten to know you over the last 2 years. And at first, when I saw your persona, I was like, man, very good looking, well built, not afraid, very direct, wealthy, right? You know, and I'm like, man, he's nothing what you would think when you spend time with him. You love your children. You love, like, you're FaceTiming me. Your kids are in there. We spent 2 hours on a FaceTime a month ago just bullshitting, like just talking about life.
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
Well,
I don't think people see that side of you. And I think it's important that people get to see that side of you. Like, you're a good fucking man.
Well, I'll expose more of me then, because again, in my opinion, they do see it. They just don't perceive it that way sometimes. And again, I can't control how people take me, but once you get to know me, which you have, that's when you start to see it, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, he's not running around trying to act like he knows everything. He's just sharing.
Yeah.
But family, dude, the reason why you see me with family and I value family so much is because, again, I don't need shit to happen to me to understand it. At the end of your life, and you're on your deathbed, you're not worried about money and you're not worried about businesses. You're worried about people. You know, relationships are clearly the most important thing in your life, and I don't want to have to die or get sick to realize that. So I prioritize family first. Like, again, if my wife called or my daughter called right in the middle of this podcast, I'm going to say, hold on a minute, and I'm going to answer their call. Now, we have a code where I say, listen, text if it's not important, call if it's important, which means I don't care if you're Donald Trump and they call, I'm answering the phone. Why? Because they're more important than Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
And then there's people that neglect their family over their business. And I always ask those people, if you had to have one disappear, what would it be? And they're like, well, what do you mean? If you had to get rid of your family or your business, which one would you do? And they're like, well, I'd get rid of my business if I had to. Well, then you already know the priority.
Correct.
So start acting like it. Start acknowledging it. Start prioritizing things differently. So what you see is that I prioritize my family because I'm appreciative. And what's crazy is when you appreciate something, it appreciates.
Yeah, well,
you want your family to be more valuable, start appreciating them more. You want your wife to be more valuable, appreciate her more.
you know, it's funny because you met my sons.
Yeah.
And immediately, you're on the middle of the floor here. People are trying to surround you to talk to you. And you ignored them all. You started playing with my kids. You were playing the repeat game, and you're joking and laughing. Like, I don't think that's the... You want to go live? Have your people go live with that. Because that's really, like, I was like, here's a guy. You come to my conference, which I appreciate you speaking. You know what I mean? I asked you, you said yes right away. Like, and here you are. My son walks up to you, and you're just fucking bullshitting with why people are trying to take pictures. And you just... Not that you were ignoring them. You made my sons the priority over anyone else. Without, a lot of people would have been like, hold on, let me get back to you, kid. Let me go take these pictures for selfish reasons, for whatever reason. Like, this is not your...
Well, you just said selfish, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like, well, the kid's not going to buy nothing from me, so let me give the attention to someone who might. Well, dude, that kid may not buy nothing from you from the start, but that kid's going to grow up to be buying something. And not only that, it's just, you know, youth is our future. And not only that, like, it makes a bigger impact that you ignore a kid than ignore a human being that's full grown and, you know, a little bit more experienced. So to me, kids are my, like, soft spot. Like, I donate a lot of money to, you know, find missing children, protect children. So again, whenever I see kids, man, I want to pour into them and hopefully make an impact.
Let's talk about the conference here. I asked you to speak. You said no problem. You came here. What did you think of the conference, and what was your because you had no clue. This is your first roofing conference, I'm assuming, right?
That I stuck around, yeah.
Yeah. So, and what do you think? What did you expect? What'd you think?
Well, again, I mean, you guys do it right. You don't skimp. I mean, there's VIP treatment for regular general admission tickets. Your audio visuals on point, which is, I think, important at a conference. You know, your culture that's walking around, like, everybody seems like, you know, like you want to belong. Everyone's looking to help each other. Your speaker lineup was amazing, especially because I was there. You know, I think it's good. I think it's a well done conference, and I think if anybody's ever considering whether or not to go to one, because a lot of people are like, I can only go to one. Well, I'd make it this one.
You know, here's a question for you. What do you think of the roofing space? Because we've gotten to talk. I've told you numbers. I've shown you stuff. Home services in general. Do you think people should be looking at it and taking it more serious and saying, "Man, there's money in roofing, and if you want to be in business, this might be a good place to go to"?
Certainly, like it's got huge potential, and a lot of people are missing it. It's right under their noses. Like I always say, AI's coming. Everyone's nervous. It's going to take our job. Listen, I don't see AI replacing your roof. Number one. Number two, guys, if you understand business, it's the ability to sell a roof. It's not that difficult. Insurance covers most of them. Like sales in the roofing space is not that difficult, but the profitability or the profit margins are good. It's labor, so it's not likely to be replaced with AI. And if you do it and you understand business, man, dude, you can make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in the roofing space. And by the way, with no experience, like somebody listening to this that's thinking about getting in the roofing space, there wouldn't be a question of if I did. The question would be how I did, and I'd start investigating immediately, because the roofing space for the next, I would say, 10 years is going to be freaking sizzling hot.
My question is sales. You do a lot of sales training, and you're very good at it, right? You do a ton of it. Why do you think so many people fail at sales?
Because their energy is off. They're trying to make commission, and it's kind of I want to sell something rather than help people. So their energy's off, and they're not connecting. And again, it's a relationship business. So ultimately, dude, if you want to sell something more, I would stop trying to sell it and just start understanding the product and the industry and the benefits and the advantages and the competition. And then I'd go out and I'd help people. And my main goal would be to help people. And then that sincerity, that authenticity, that connection, that energy connects quicker, and you close more deals because people trust you, and it's all about trust.
We were just having a conversation over there, and I was listening to you speak, and I was like, why aren't the majority of salespeople and people in general, right? And this is my exact comment. You get these sales guys, right? They'll go out and they'll hire a personal trainer, or they'll go see a shrink, right? And they'll invest in those things. But nobody wants it. I don't have a sales coaching group or anything like that. You know how I feel. I don't want one, right? Why don't people invest in the fucking sales coaching, or even let us as business owners bring coaches into coaching? Like, I don't need a coach. I'm the best salesman. I close everybody. No, your close rate's 20%, brother. We have the data here, right? Everything's in service tight. Your close rate's 30. Can you talk to me about that mindset? Because we just had this conversation literally when you were on stage, me and a few of my leaders.
Well, that's what it is. It's their mindset. Their belief systems are a little bit off. At the end of the day, sales and closing and influence and conflict resolution and building relationships, it's all just skills. And you can develop any skill by just focusing time and effort and practice and investment into it. And a lot of people start doing it, and they get a little bit of discomfort, and they start to get a little bit of rejection, and they take it personally, and then their mindset goes haywire, and they think this is too hard, this is too difficult, I can't do it. And then their mindset literally sabotages their journey of mastering a skill. You master skills by doing it over and over and over. So again, people think, well, I don't need sales training, I'm great. Well, 9 times out of 10, if you don't think you can master something or get better at something, I know your mindset's already off. So again, there's answers for all kinds of scenarios, but that's the main one.
Your personal brand, you're known as Bradley. Really, more people know your name than probably your company name.
Yes.
Right? I want to talk about that for a second. Why is it important that everyone builds their personal brand? Like you see, I built mine, right? LB, build to sell, like Lance Bachmann. You don't see too much of the roofing, because I want you to explain to people why they should be investing in their personal brand. Because I don't think many people understand why you're doing what you're doing and how you're doing and how you skyrocketed to success so fast by that.
Well, I believe that people don't follow companies, they follow people. So that's a personal brand, not a company brand. But at the end of the day, it's about connection. People want to connect, people want to trust, and they can't trust a brand as easy as they can a person. So if you build a personal brand, that will follow you to any company or brand that you want to promote or endorse. So rather than build the company brand and then literally be an unknown entity, and now you're stuck with that brand. If you build a personal brand, you can now blow up a brand and blow up multiple brands. Why? Because they follow you, not your business.
What would you say to the roofers out there or any business owner? Should they start by doing their company brand first or their personal brand first? Which would you say is going to get more dividends for them?
Well, my answer is usually both.
Okay.
Again, I mean, depends on your situation, but it's not one or the other. It's both. You should build your personal brand. You should build your brand. But if you had to pick, and again, I'd still say both. But what's more important? I would say more important is your personal brand. It's easier to build. You're in total control of it. And ultimately, if you protect it and build it correctly, you can then drive it towards your brand and accelerate the building of that. So again, personal brand is senior to a brand.
You aren't always the Bradley everyone sees. There had to be a time when you were starting your company and starting out where shit got difficult. Just everyone does it. Every entrepreneur, right? What was the one time you truly just said, man, like, fuck this, I think I'm done. And you got through it. And can you talk about that? Because right now, people watch this. I don't care who you are. I thought about it 15 years ago. I thought about quitting, but you didn't. You persevered. Can you just talk about that moment? Do you have a pivotal moment that you could ever remember where?
You know, I get asked that a lot, and I try to think, and I can never come up with anything because my perspective is gratitude. And, you know, I know things can always be worse, so I'm always grateful for whatever position I'm in. And I always believe that it's going to change. So like 20 years took me to build the first business, and I believed every single day of that 20 years that I was 90 days away from succeeding. If I would have thought, man, this is too difficult, it's never going to work, I probably would have quit. But I always believed that it's not if it'll work, it's how do I need to make it work. It was like a game, a challenge, and I like games and challenges, so I just kept going. And sure enough, I was correct. There was a way to do it, and I found it. And I wouldn't have found it if I would have given up. So I think it's my perspective that gave me the advantage.
I heard you once say that if you had to do it over again with Grant Cardone, you would. And I guess my question to you is, do you learn from every experience, every interaction? Because we've only had good interactions, only a good relationship. Can you kind of explain? Because it's a quick snippet. Like, it's not a long snippet whoever posted it. It was like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I don't really know the whole backstory. I was just curious, like, because
with Grant, you mean?
Yeah, with Grant, because there's multiple stories to it, and there's bullshit out there. And I was just like, no, I'm just going to ask him. You know?
Yeah, well, what happened is, you know, I closed him on doing something. I invested my time, energy, and money because he was afraid to. And then it kind of blew up. And when he owed me a lot of money every month, he wanted to renegotiate, and I didn't want to because it was a lot of money. And so we kind of got in a little argument about it, and became less close than we were. In retrospect, I teach people you got to value relationships over money. So I was guilty of valuing money over relationships, and coincidentally, for that mistake, I lost the relationship and I lost money. Because if I would have just said no problem and valued the relationship more than I did the $1 million a month he owed me, well, then I would have still been in the relationship, and I probably would have made way more money than I have. So the lesson there is value relationships over money. It's hard to do sometimes, especially when it's a lot. But when he came to me and said he doesn't want to pay me that much money, I should have chose the relationship, which would have made my answer, no problem, bro. We're buds. I got you. And that relationship would still be much stronger and would have lasted way longer than it did. I mean, we still have a relationship. He's still a client. He still sends me money.
Yeah.
But I could have taken a better path, which is, value the relationship over the money, which would have made me tell him, no problem. I got you, bro. And that would have eventually led to a lot more money than doing it the other way. So the lesson is value relationships over money, because if you value money over relationships, soon you'll have neither.
No doubt. I guess my next question for you is, a lot of your stuff is done digitally. You're on all the social media platforms.
Yeah.
Why have you never bought a fucking digital agency? It seems like it's easy. It seems like a very easy. You do your digital well. You have a great presence.
Yeah.
It'd be an easy business for you to jump into. I'm just curious.
Well, you only have so much time in the day, and you have to like prioritize. You know, I got family. I got, you know, other businesses that are very successful. So I focus on those, and I don't want to dilute myself with just another thing. And so it's just never really boiled up. I've thought about it. But
I'm not questioning. I just figured it'd be easy. Like, hey, this is my wheelhouse.
Well, it's not easy because it's not me that does it all. It's a team.
Yeah.
And if I, you know, try to overwhelm that team by helping everybody, I'm going to end up helping nobody.
Yeah.
So including myself.
Yeah.
So you just gotta, you know, focus and pick your battles. And unfortunately, you know, digital marketing, even though it's very lucrative, and if you get good at it, dude, you can make millions doing that too.
doubt.
But if you get stretched too thin, pretty soon even if you're genius at what you do, you're average at best because you're so diluted.
You know how I feel about my wife and my family. Why do you think it's so important to have a healthy relationship with your wife and family to be a good business person? Because some people don't feel that way.
Well, then they're mistaken, because I can promise you, people don't have business problems. They got personal problems that they bring to the business. So if you focus on making sure your household's strong, your foundation, your safe haven, your family, which should be your responsibility, you know, you'll have less obstacles, challenges in your business. Because a lot of people think they have business issues, and then they bring those business issues home, which causes personal issues, and then they bring those personal issues to the business, which causes more problems. So again, people need to understand what's more important. Your family should be. So prioritize the family, make sure there's no problems there, and I'll bet you have less problems at your business. Or you'll be better off managing them and able to solve them because you have a safe haven.
Now, I've never done this before, and you can say no. I'm willing to let a few of these people that are watching you ask questions if you're okay with it to you. If not,
Sure.
I won't do it.
Are we live?
You're like, guys, does anyone want to ask Brad Lee questions live on this podcast? You can. It's the first time I'm going to let it happen. Come on up.
You mean
if
people
you want
watching?
to. Come on up.
Sure.
Have a seat. Introduce
you doing, man?
yourself.
How are you?
Can we get him a chair?
Ron, how are you? Nice to meet you, man.
Here you go. Listen, I figured, I know you're good on your feet. I know this ain't part of your thing, but do you mind?
Sure.
All right. Introduce yourself.
We did.
I did.
So-
My name is Ron. I own a roofing company back in Canada. Started 7 years ago. I believe I do everything right, but I think I got to some point that's it. I need more help. So I approached to Lance, and that's why I came here. I waited here to ask you the six secrets in the morning that you do. I just lost the count somewhere. Can you please repeat them for me?
The Sacred Six or the $1 Million Morning?
The secret six.
Sacred Six is number one, forgive yourself.
Yeah. Forgive
Commit
yourself.
to do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Rack up the wins.
Yep.
Get rid of the idiots.
Yep.
Map out and visualize what success looks like.
Yep.
And then seek information on a daily basis.
I guess I missed the one that's really important for me. Get rid of the idiots.
Well, dude, listen, negative influence. Did you hear the ending?
Yeah.
Where if I were Satan, you know how I'd screw you up?
Yeah. That's
I'd surround you with negative influence and negative people and people that promote average and people that promote mediocrity. And a lot of times people find themselves surrounded by those people and they're not even aware of it.
You got it. Thank you very much.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it a lot. Thank you guys.
My pleasure, man. Nice to meet you.
Next person, come on up.
See you later.
Come up and introduce yourself. Hey, I told you, we'll definitely catch you. Come on up, my friend.
This is taking good to meet you.
Hey, come and see. Have a
Hey,
seat.
how you doing, man? Pleasure.
Get close, my friend.
I will. So my question is pretty simple. You know, all entrepreneurs talk about the consistent skills or traits that you need in order to be successful. They talk about extreme accountability, they talk about sales, and they say hard work. Aside from that, what would you be focusing on if you were trying to get to tremendous impact and be able to influence people?
Well, number one, I mean, the hard work part threw me because I don't think I work hard.
Okay.
And, I think what you mean is true, which means, put time and effort and energy, but it doesn't have to be hard. To me, hard is the one lifting up the shingles to the roof. That's not the guy making the money, right?
Yeah.
So the guy owning the roofing company is the one making the money. So it's not the hard work that matters. It's the smart work. But if you mean time and energy and you call that hard, I would agree. So what's your question? What are you missing?
So those are the three that every entrepreneur talks about. What else would you be focusing on trying to develop in order to be successful?
I'd be focused on your mindset, your skill set, and your habits. What are your habits?
I mean,
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Yeah, you're 22 and you're at a growth conference. Like, dude, that's at 22, dude. I was smoking weed and trying to get laid. So you're already doing the right stuff.
This kid's sitting here.
Yeah, no, you're already on the right track, bro.
I-
But keep in mind, there's no instant gratification.
Yeah.
So I would be focused on consistency. I would be focused on, building yourself. Working on the knowledge, making sure that your skill set are up to par. Because again, being so young could mean you don't have much experience, and without experience, you don't really know, and you're not certain. And if you're not certain, your energy is a little bit, shaky because you're not really sure, and then that causes distrust, and that could cost you millions.
Definitely.
So I would just go out and keep doing the right thing consistently, and keep focused. Really.
I wrote down some of your books that you had mentioned when you were up on the stage. Can I get the complete list of ones that you had said to read?
Well, is there a recording he can get?
Yeah.
I can try to repeat them.
Listen, you're 22. I can tell this, my friends, but here, I'm going to tell you something that you should hear.
Okay.
You're 22 years old. You ain't going to have it figured out by the time you're 30. Just keep fucking doing what you're doing. And every other kid right now, 22 years old, about 99% of them, it's Friday, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Florida.
Yeah, they'll be
He's out
working for
there
you in 10
drinking,
years.
trying to get laid, and you're sitting here trying to self-develop. I promise you, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Wipe that insecurity away from you, brother. Fair enough?
I appreciate
It's
that.
very
A lot
nice to
of
meet
it's,
you.
a lot of it's just time, man. Nice to meet you, bro.
We're going to do one more. Come on, one more. Come on up.
What's your name?
Brad Parvell, nice to meet you.
How you doing, man?
Hey, very nice to
Parvell,
meet you.
nice to meet
Hey, have a
you.
seat. Come on.
Thank you so much. I don't actually have a question for you. I just want to tell you thank you so much. I was prior military, and I was dealing with some situations while I was in the military, and my mindset wasn't the best. And suicide, I thought, was the biggest thing that I want to do. But I started listening to Dropping Bombs and the podcast and all the value you add. And sometimes to this day, when I still get in those funky mindsets, you help me get out of it, and plenty of other people, I believe, as well. So I just want
That's
to thank
awesome.
you for that.
Well, I appreciate that,
brother.
man. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for your service.
Thank you for your support.
Thank
Hey,
you for your
dude,
service.
and just remember, bro. Like, when you start thinking shit like that, like, you got to think to yourself, dude. That's not the best option.
Sure.
Go if you heard what I said in there. Just start doing those things. You'll never think about that again.
I appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
That's
man.
it. That's it. One more. Yeah, I'm not gonna say no, Kyle.
That's
One more.
awesome.
That's fine. One more. Yeah, come on. One more. And then that's it. Brad, do you mind?
No. What's up, Robert?
Good to meet
How you doing, man?
What's up, brother?
See you again. Quick, easy question for you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hopefully, it's an easy question. How do you prioritize your giving back and scaling a business? Is it a number, a percentage, your tithing? How do you do that?
It's depends, but no, there's no percentage. I like to say that it's not me giving back. I'm just the vessel through which it flows. Sometimes I'll see somebody that's homeless ask me for money and I won't give them a dime. Nothing urges me to. And then sometimes I'll see somebody and I'll give them $1,000. And it's like, what percentage is that? I mean, a fractional. Well, why don't you give them $1 million? Because again, I'm told to give them 1,000. So I don't think it's me doing the giving and choosing. I think it's just me through which it flows, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want like a formula, I personally, depending on what you're talking about, I would say, open up the Bible and it says 10%. So that's a good number to go by. 10% of what you have and, give it.
I would go with net, my friend.
yeah.
Go with net.
Well, I mean, at the end of
take care of everybody.
Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, dude, the more you give, the more you get. So I give more than 10%, and I seem to just keep getting more of it. So like so far, I haven't. If I said I'll give you back twice everything that you give me, how much would you give?
A lot.
All of it.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, up to where, you can't give anymore is what I would suggest. But again, not knowing your circumstance, that could be foolish too. So you got to go do the math in your own head, but just as long as you're giving, and that's part of a habit of giving, it doesn't have to be money. It can be time. It can be work. Like there could be someone out there that couldn't afford a roof, for example, but you can, because you get things that cost and you get the labor at cost, and you could give that away. So I mean, it's not necessarily a percentage. I think it's just it's a mindset, really. So again, you already have it because you're asking the question. You're just wanting to know how much to give.
How do you?
I wouldn't give more than you can afford.
Okay, fair enough.
If you can afford it, give it. If you can't, then don't. And by the way, again, if you truly believe the more you give, the more you get, which I do.
I do as well.
Yeah, I'll give as much as I can. That's my answer. It's not a percentage. It's not, hey, 10% I've given already. Sometimes I'll give, and then I'll give, and then I'll give, and then I'll run out of things to give, and I can't give any more money, so that's my limit. But
Time.
yeah, it's time, it's energy, it's advice, it's whatever. But the fact that you're giving or even curious is
Advice.
awesome.
It came to be here. Thank
Great
you.
advice. God bless
Thank you
you.
so much,
Thanks,
everyone.
man.
Thank you,
God
sir.
bless
Appreciate
you.
sir.
Listen, thank you. I know I threw you off guard there,
No,
but
it's easy.
I thought you know what? I thought it was good. It's Friday afternoon. These people are sitting here watching you. I didn't think you'd give a shit, to be honest with you.
I don't.
So I appreciate you being here, Brad.
My
You're the
pleasure.
man. I look
Thanks
forward
for
to having
having
dinner
me.
with you guys tonight.
Man, thank you. See you soon.
See you, man.
Peace.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Service Titan and Rilla, our technology of choice to helping us scale and grow our business and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to.